The Bruins in front 3-2 after 2 periods of play. The Bruins have gotten younger with the influx of Olympians. And Bill Clement, how are these young guys doing it?
Well, they're doing it with a lot of determination. Adam Oates has had to play with rookies most of the playoffs, and one of his line mates, Joey Juneau, makes a heck of a play on what we're going to show you now. It's our minute highlight of the second period. And Glenn Wesley starts it here, but watch this pick that he gets to spring him loose for an attempted pass to Adam Oates in front. Now he tries to pass to Oates. It doesn't work. And we'll stop right here and show you that right now Stevens and Juneau are going to race for the puck to the corner. Juneau pulls Kevin Stevens down, and while Stevens is flat, watch, he'll try to pull the puck in with his stick, and it doesn't work. But we can stop here and show you that Jimmy Pack, number 2 of the Penguins, has decided to go to that side of Stevens, thinking Juneau's going to come this way. Juneau, smart player, comes this way and leaves Jimmy Pack behind Kevin Stevens. Now it gets worse for the Penguins. We'll stop here, show you Rick Tocchet, who's a right winger and who really should be watching this right point, pinches in on Steve Leach. Juneau finds Glenn Wesley wide open on the point, and his shot was too much for Tom Barrasso to handle. Up and off his glove, off the crossbar, and into the net. So one of the guys that has to step up to pick up the slack from Ray Bourque not being in the lineup did it on that one. Glenn Wesley scored. The Bruins lead this one at the end of 2 periods, 3-2.
Maybe. They call that flying. Wrong. Northwest is flying.
Fly Northwest. 47,000 people bringing you the best on-time performance in the country.
Sort of what it feels like when you run out of Molson. Molson, bringing you Sports Channel America's exciting NHL coverage.
The 1992 Stanley Cup Playoffs on Sports Channel America has been brought to you by Molson, a part of the NHL tradition since 1957. Molson is Canadian beer. By Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. And by your Kawasaki Motor Corps USA. Kawasaki, it's where I want to be.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh. The third period is just underway. The Bruins have forced the Penguins back, but now Yager will try to get Pittsburgh through center ice. The pass to Kevin Stevens. Back to Yager. Yager driving behind the net. Stevens is pushed into Andy Moog. The net comes off. Moog is down on his back. The Bruins would like to get an interference penalty here, but actually they interfered with Stevens, pushing him back into the Boston goaltender.
Kevin Stevens continues to do what he has to do. Use his size, drive the net, make it tough on Glenn Wesley and Don Sweeney. They're the defense pair that are out there now for the Bruins. And Andy Moog at 5'8" and 170 pounds will fall over backwards pretty easily when 6'4", 225 hits him.
Andy Moog will get back into the net. Well, during our intermission, Mike Emmerich had a chance to talk to the Bruins assistant coach, Mike O'Connell.
Mike, you have to be pleased with the way your team has played in the first 2 periods of this contest. Anything you want to change at this point?
No, I think the key to our game is to check the puck. Go to the puck as quick as we can, not give them as much ice. Our defense are moving up real well. 10 minutes in that period, we didn't check as well as we'd like to. They came back and put some pressure on us. We had some big saves from Andy. But 5-minute mark on, 15-minute mark on, we started to check better and we got a goal.
Any surprises in this game to you so far through 2 periods?
No, the intensity's pretty good. It's been a good game. Both teams are playing hard, and I just hope we can keep this up.
Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thank you.
Now from the face-off outside that Boston line, the Bruins have controlled the puck. Don Sweeney, long shot from center is wide of Tom Barrasso. Paul Stanton turns it up the boards toward Brian Trottier off his stick and right to Leach. His shot is tipped and on into the seats. Well, they're saying in the press box here, Bill, that the first period was Patrick Division of Hockey, the second period Adams Division of Hockey. What will we see in the third?
Well, I think the first period was Penguins hockey more than Patrick Division hockey, because the Penguins are really atypical of the Patrick Division. They play a little more wide open style, but they can check. Guys like Brian Trottier knows both ends of the ice and both sides of the puck. But he'll have his hands full. I like what Mike O'Connell said. He wants his guys to really check the puck quickly. That means just pursue the puck, support the puck. That has 2 people chasing it at all times, unless you get pulled out of position. But the thing that Boston did against Montreal, Jigs, that was so successful, and Pat Burns even said this at the end of the series, he said Boston just played in-your-face hockey, and they have the speed to do that. When you don't have the size, you have to make up for it with the speed, and the Boston Bruins puck pursuit against Montreal was outstanding. They think they need that in the third period, and I think it's a pretty good game plan. If you give the Penguins time, it's their most valuable asset. You combine time with the skill level that the Penguins have, you can really put it together. So the Bruins want to take that time away with their quickness.
It was that same Pat Burns of the Montreal Canadiens who said every time his team stepped it up a notch, the Bruins stepped it up 2 notches.
Running out of holes in that belt. Something you wouldn't know anything about, but
not in this lifetime. Ron Francis on the face-off against Rosie Ruzicka. Boston leading 3-2. Last minute of the second period, they got the lead on a goal by Glenn Wesley, but now Yager drives Pittsburgh across the line, only to be pushed off the puck. And to handle it is Jeff Lazaro. Gets knocked down. His teammates re-control the puck, and Steve Leach dumps it through center. On into the Pittsburgh end. Chasing it back is Shel Samuelson, and that'll be an icing against the Boston Bruins. Early in this third period, 1 minute and 7 seconds into the period, Barrasso out for a skate.
You have to wonder who Scotty Bowman wants to concentrate on stopping. Adam Oates is obviously one. He's a gifted center, but this is the other man, Vladimir Ruzicka. 38 goals during the regular season, but Rick Bowness told me 2 days ago that he fell off drastically in the last 6 weeks of the season, and he even got benched in the playoffs, sat out 2 games. Rick Bowness has spent a lot of time with Ruzicka in the last week trying to pump him up. The reason he's back playing is that the Pittsburgh Penguins play a more wide-open style, better suited to Ruzicka. He needs a little room, but when he's not scoring, Bowness can't play him. He has improved 100% this season defensively, Bowness said, but still, that's not good enough. He's still not very good defensively. I think the Bruins need Ruzicka to produce to win this series.
Yeah, I do too. I like some of the kids that they've put into their lineup, having seen this Bruin team together in person for the first time, and I'm just sitting here thinking, with that combination of Oates and Junot, and if Cam Neely ever gets healthy and plays on that line, that will be a devastating forward line for Boston. The delay here, Andy Van Hellemond back to say something to the Pittsburgh coaching staff.
You know, we mentioned Neely being out of the lineup, Ray Bourque is out of the lineup, and we've shown you Mario Lemieux, but we haven't mentioned that Bob Airey, a gifted left winger, and Joe Mullen, 42-goal guy, right winger for the Penguins, are also out of this series so far. Airey has a chance to come back. Joey Mullen is gone for the season. But the reason we haven't mentioned them is the Penguins have so much depth. You don't miss them that much.
Larry Murphy didn't miss the net on that shot. Andy Moog made the save, and Duras plays it through center, and again it'll be across the goal line, but this time Tom Barrasso will play it around to the left side instead of the right. And the Penguins once more failed to get out of the zone. Now they try to come up the boards again, only to be squeezed off the puck, and it's frozen for a face-off. The Bruins putting up that in-your-face checking style and leading Pittsburgh by a score of 3-2.
Well, they look a lot like businessmen. The guy on the left, Mario Lemieux, has enough money to be a businessman. The man on the right is Bob Airey. I mentioned Airey as a gifted winger. Gosh, he brings so much spirit and life to the Penguins lineup. Not a big man, but he gives you everything he's got. And for a number of years here earlier in Mario's career, he was Mario Lemieux's left winger. Hasn't played much with him over the last couple of years, but a very valuable guy and a good skater. And in the series, depending on how it goes, you can eventually miss a guy like Bob Airey. I said that we haven't talked about them because you don't miss them. I should say the Penguins haven't missed them yet, but it could get a lot tougher for them as this series goes on.
And depending what happens here tonight, that might speed up the healing process of Mario's hand dramatically.
Yeah, I think there's no question that with Mario Lemieux's situation, when he comes back will partially at least be determined by how the series is going.
Right now, Boston leads game 1 by a score of 3-2. The Penguins move the puck along the boards down into the Boston zone, and Moog has come out to play it. Shot it around the boards away from Sean McEachran. Tocchet pinched in. Boston got it outside the line, and they regained control of the puck. And Hervey shoots it in, and back for it is Ulf Samuelsson. Around to the left side. Troy Loney got checked. What a job by the Bruins. Hemming in these Pittsburgh Penguins. Now the puck comes loose. Rick Tocchet starts out of the zone. 2 Bruins back. Tocchet plays it just up ahead of Samuelsson. Ulf centered one in front of that Bruin net, and Boston regains control. Checked on the play, however, was Oates. But the Bruins follow through down the right wing boards as Gord Hines. He got turned back. Brian Trottier moves it across to Shell Samuelson. Samuelson with a pass. Didn't make the connection at the Boston line. Now Ulf Samuelson on the left side gets checked. And here's Steve Leach. Leach driving it on goal. Checked from behind. Centered it across. It comes off the boards for Dave Reed. Reed pushed into the boards. That was Mike Needham all over him. Now the Bruins center one that came off his skate. Gave Barrasso an anxious moment, and he's covered it outside the goalpost. And again, he's slow getting back on his skates. The Bruins with a 1-goal lead over the Penguins.
In spite of the fact that Vladimir Ruzicka is not a good defensive player, Rick Bowness has him out there, but he has him flanked by a couple of excellent defensive players. Dave Reed on the left, Steve Leach on the right, and he needs to play Ruzicka. He has to show confidence in him so that he's good for him at the end of hockey games and later on in the series, and Leach and Reed will really back him up.
Now this Pittsburgh crowd trying to get something going. Their team is trailing by a goal. Gord Roberts has dumped the puck into the Boston zone. Oh, left it for Don Sweeney. It came back to the near side of the net, and Ruzicka is there. He's bumped solidly by Needham. Mike Needham out on this forward line for the Penguins. The Boston Bruins trying to dump the puck in, but there'll be a charging penalty. That'll be against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the Boston Bruins will have their 6th power play of the evening. Phil Bourque goes to the penalty box.
Well, you still want to continue to take the body and hit people at this stage of a hockey game. But watch Dave Reed, number 17 of the Bruins. He got hit from behind, and it was a real good lick by Phil Bourque. Reed never saw him coming, lost his stick, lost his helmet on the play. You just can't hit from behind. I mean, Phil Bourque doesn't need to take him out here, and the Penguins have to be a very smart hockey team in the 3rd period, especially down a goal. Boy, if there was one Penguin that could have been called the star of the New York Rangers series, Phil Bourque was one, Larry Murphy was one, but they got so much mileage from a lot of guys who were role players during the regular season. Phil Bourque turned into a point man on the power play, a penalty killer, a regular strength player against the Rangers, and now he has to sit the longest 2 minutes so far of this series for him.
It was Gord Murphy who ripped one just wide of the Pittsburgh goal that's now off the moorings and play called. Boston on the power play. You talk about Adam Oates being the quarterback of the power play, but you look to Junot as well. Here's a kid who handles the puck and has such great poise.
Well, you talk about a kid that's used to adversity. He went to RPI. He has a degree in aeronautical engineering. He's from Pont Rouge, Quebec. And when he arrived at RPI, he spoke no English. He zipped through, got his degree in aeronautical engineering. He is 30 hours away from his private pilot's license. So the kid doesn't mind a challenge, and he doesn't panic under pressure. Excellent hands, good skater. He's going to be a great player. All he has to do is learn the mental toughness aspect of this league, and he's going to be around for a lot of years.
Oh, those accomplishments, it would seem that hockey might just be a part-time thing, like a hobby.
Well, until a few years ago when the salary skyrocketed, it may have been.
Penguin short-handed. Francis has dumped the puck down the ice. Francis and Tocchet with Murphy and Ulf Samuelson on the points, killing off the penalty for Pittsburgh. Now the Bruins start out on the power play. Hard in, round the boards, off Murphy's stick. Larry Murphy, number 55 for Pittsburgh, couldn't clear it out. Here's Wesley into Junot. Junot with Murray out in front, and Murray got bumped as Junot centered it. And back toward the point and held in by the Bruins. Francis takes a couple of Bruins to the boards, and the puck was freed up for Larry Murphy. Then to Rick Tocchet. One man to beat as he drives over the line. Shoots one high. Moog has it in the catching glove.
I can't believe he caught that. And I can't believe that was Tockett's full windup. He's not 95%. He's 100%.
That was like a Roger Clemens fastball, wasn't it? And he had no trouble. 52 seconds remaining in Phil Bourque's charging penalty. Bruins safely through center ice. Wesley plays it to the left side. This is Adam Oates. Oates looking for Leach, who's driven to the front of the net, set up the point man instead. Long shot. They battled for it in front. Steered aside by Barrasso. Adam Oates freed it up. Wesley at the left point. Hervey playing the right point now. Shell Samuelson can't get a stick on it. Junot from back of the net. Plays it to the left wing boards. Chases it, then feeds the point. At Hervey. Wesley and across to Jeannot. Could not get a stick on it. It is cleared up the boards by Pack. Didn't get it out of the zone. Gets another chance. This time he gets it outside the line. Now Oates comes across the Pittsburgh blue line, and Pack took the puck and shot it the length of the ice. They've killed off the 6th Boston power play of this game this Pittsburgh team has, and they trail by a score of 3-2. Ruzicka for the Bruins gets turned back at the Pittsburgh line. Ruzicka to the late man. This is Carpenter. He got spun off balance, and Larry Murphy clears it out. Don Sweeney shoots it right back in. It got around the boards away from Barrasso. Yager and Trache together along with Kevin Stevens. Stevens with the puck. Gave it to Larry Murphy. Falling, but was able to clear the zone. In the center ice area, Bob Carpenter finds an open man. This is Weimer. Stick save.
Boy, we're getting an excellent look at what Boston does best. They forecheck hard. Pittsburgh gets the puck out of their zone, but Boston recovers so quickly positionally in the neutral zone, they break up the play and stick it right back in the Penguins' faces. Look, that's the 3rd time in a row they've done that.
Jim Pappen is here scouting on behalf of the Chicago Blackhawks. Harry Howell on behalf of the Edmonton Oilers. They have got something to write in their book tonight. Larry Murphy with a shot. Hit the outside of the Boston goal. Yager looks for somebody in front. Jaromir Jagr showing some strength. Centers, and Moog makes the stop. Big save, but there will be a penalty against the Boston Bruins. Roberts turns it toward the corner. Brian Trache gets a stick on it. Back to Francis. Shoots. Andy Moog has that in the catching glove. And there's no further play. It's 3-2 Bruins as we pause for a regional break.
Well, the fans are waiting in anticipation of the Penguins' power play because Gord Hines is off. Stevens again going to the front of the net, out-muscling Hines, and finally Gordy Hines had to drag him down. How big has Kevin Stevens been in this hockey game? Real big. But his Penguins trail by a goal.
Stevens had 123 points in the regular season compared to Mario Lemieux's league-leading 131. Scotty Bowman just took his 32nd timeout.
And Andy Moog had a chance to rest. He hasn't had that much work lately, and one shot that was headed over the net looked something like this. Rick Tocchet came to the blue line. Did he ever let this one fly? Up high. Wow, that might have had the crossbar. Now, sometimes the follow-through fools you, and I thought that was a good 6 inches over the net when I saw it live, but Andy might have had a crossbar shot to deal with there.
Now he has a Pittsburgh power play to face. Francis in the middle. Stevens on the left. Yager on the right. Phil Bourque at the left point. Larry Murphy on the right point. Adam Oates won the face-off for the Bruins. Stevens went shoulder to shoulder with the defenseman, and Phil Bourque held it in. Yager drew a couple of Bruins toward him. Now Yager frees up the puck, heads for the front of the net on the backhand. It has slipped off his stick as Poulin got a chunk of him. Ron Francis off the end boards. Gave it to Yager. Walks out of the corner. Centered. Stevens is there, and Moog robbed him. Scramble in front. The puck covered by the Boston defense.
Who's in the middle of it? Kevin Stevens. But Jaromir Jagr danced from the boards to the front of the net. We ISO'd Kevin Stevens on this play just to show you what he does in the power play. He doesn't stand. I mean, he's big enough to fight anybody in front, but when he moves, he's even tougher because you don't get a chance to get good position on him. Look at him poking away at it even after the play has stopped. A big man stays stationary, that's one thing. You might have to contend with his strength, but when he moves and you don't get a chance to get a real good stick on him, double trouble.
Stevens stays out. Yager stays on the right with Francis in the middle. The Bruins are able to clear the puck following the draw. Tom Barrasso will leave it for Larry Murphy. Yager turns, goes up the right wing boards, and takes the pass. 20-year-old Jaromir Jagr driving on the Boston defense and has trouble centering it. Stevens was there, so was Francis, and the Bruins come up with it. Boston leading 3-2. They've cleared the puck out of play on into the seats. The clock stopped with just a little more than 12 minutes remaining in the third period.
Boy, what a tough year Rick Bowness has had to handle. 55 players the Bruins used this year. Over 550 man games lost to injury. They set a record in the league since that statistic was tracked. Tom Barrasso was injured earlier in this hockey game. It seems all right now. But in talking to Rick Bowness, Jiggs, I asked him if there was a point in the season where he really started to feel the pressure and was perhaps a little down. And he said, well, I would never show it publicly, and it's hard to admit it now, but he said in March, the whole season came down on him, and the expectations were still so high, and on many nights, he had a team full of guys that simply were not good enough to play in the NHL. You can't use 55 guys and have all NHL caliber players.
No, I wouldn't think so. Although hopefully for the teams in Tampa and Ottawa coming into the league next year, there will be enough NHL caliber talent to compete. I think there will be, but not all off one team. Murphy from the right point, trying to tee it up, and he got checked. Nice play by Dave Reed. Reed killing off this penalty. He's number 17. Penguins can't make the pass in the center ice zone. 30 seconds left in their power play. Murphy in the exchange with Barrasso, and it wasn't a good exchange. Murphy up the right side. They'll try a cross-ice pass here. Stevens comes off the boards and shot it wide. Now Tocchet covering the right point. Holds it in. Partially checked, centered it across. Kevin Stevens battling for it. Puts it in deeper. Francis can't get to it, however, and Don Sweeney plays it off. Ulf Samuelsson and out to center ice. Samuelsson up ahead to Stevens. He's been out a long time. Trottier comes out now to join the latter stages of this power play that has just expired. Now the Bruins get a chance to change, and the Penguins come up the right side. This is Rick Tocchet. Tocchet fakes at the blue line, trying to drive around Wesley. Puts it in deeper for Brian Trottier. Shot it off the back of the net. Trottier with it again. Tocchet had it, lost it, and the Bruins start out of the zone. Adam Oates to Joe Junot. Joey Junot over in the left side, into Oates. Juris went to the front of the net, was turned back, but now Juris steps off the end boards, trying to make the play. What a job by McEachran. Out it comes. Gord Murphy shot it off Brian Trottier. Trottier, the 35-year-old veteran, still blocking shots. Now he limps back to the Pittsburgh bench. And the Penguins come out on the right side. Mike Needham dumps it in. Needham, Callender. Now Mikhailuk comes out as well to join this line. Mikhailuk with a shot that just went wide. This line called up from the International League, intact. Out there trying to get the Penguins even. Mikhailuk out of the corner. Puts it around behind the net. Moog turns it up the boards. Needham will chase it back into the Pittsburgh zone where he'll recover. Under 10 minutes to go in this third period. The Bruins lead by a goal and an errant pass. Leach had it and lost it, and here's Needham. Mike Needham drives over the line, then got checked. He and Wesley go to the corner. Needham was content to take the man. The Bruins had the puck and lost it. Shell Samuelsson duffed it, and Boston is able to clear it out. Callender recovers at center ice. Chuck Callender took a hit from Ruzicka as he dumped it back in. Matt Hervey has it now. Hervey, a California native, goes to the left side. Bruins come to center, and it's driven down the ice by Ted Donato. Donato following the play, but the Penguins have the puck. Loney has given it to Callender. Chuck Callender across the line, into the slot, shoots just wide, and the rebound off the boards is handled by the Bruins.
Boy, that's one of the few good scoring chances that the Penguins have had in the last 5 minutes, and that wasn't even a very good one. The Bruins so sound defensively right now. The Penguins need a break. They need to keep driving the net with their big forwards to try to take Andy Moog's vision away.
Pittsburgh was so impressive defensively in their recent series against the New York Rangers, but they got the Bruins talking here tonight as we pause now for a regional break. Well, there's another of our memories, flashbacks to last season, and this is live. The Elvis impersonator is here. Is he leaving the building?
Impersonator?
He's just a little concerned about this 3-2 Boston lead. He usually leaves when the Penguins are up big. Well, that's not the case tonight.
See those hips? That's Elvis.
Okay. You voted, no doubt, for the stamp of your choice. Big-time Elvis fan as you are, I know.
I like them all.
Good. Bruins forced the play back into the Pittsburgh zone. It's picked up by Ulf Samuelsson. Played it around Carpenter, but Bob Sweeney pinching in. Now he's met by Ulf Samuelsson. They both tumble to the deck, but the Bruins have the puck at the right point. Gord Murphy Puts it back of the net. There's all Samuelson. Nice play to sidestep Bob Sweeney, and Yager failed to clear it out.
He knew Sweeney was coming for him, though, didn't he? Boy, when Samuelson plays against any team from the Adams division, because he was in Hartford for so many years, it's real.
Now Ron Francis, also former Hartford Whaler, muscled his way in, but the Bruins had the puck and clear it out. Under 8 minutes remaining in the third period. Shell Samuelson turns it toward Jim Pack. He'll dump it in. It's right at the end of the shift, and this Penguin forward line comes for a rest. Out comes Tocchet, along with Phil Bourque. Another forward on this line is McEachran, and he has the puck. Sean McEachran off left wing. Tried to center, did, in a scramble, and Moe got a chunk of it out in front. They score! McEachran! It is waved off. Andy Van Hellemond was at the goal signal of the washout he was giving. He's gone back to the off-ice box.
I'm not sure he was using both arms. I think he might have been using one arm that may have thrown everybody. I think he was using one arm pointing at the net saying goal, 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 and not using his left arm at all. Maybe we'll see it. But McEachran ended up circling the net after his dump in front, was deflected wide, came around in front, slammed it home. Phil Bourque is in the crease, it looks like, but Andy Van Hellemond comes to the side of the net and is motioning, pointing with his right hand, and you know, if you couldn't see his left arm, it looked like he was washing it out. But the face-off has been brought back to center ice, and the Penguins just needed one chance. Sean McEachran, with his second goal in the NHL and his second goal of the playoffs, has tied the game at 3. Now we'll see what the Bruins do. Do they have to open up a little bit, or do they just wait for their chance?
The goal stands, and Hellemond had me fooled. That signal, and it is 3-3. With just over 7 minutes to play in the third period. The puck comes loose deep in the Pittsburgh zone. Centered out in front, of the drive just went wide of Barrasso. Rick Tocchet, by the way, had the only assist on that goal by Sean McEachran, and McEachran has cleared the puck. Couldn't get it through to Tocchet. Don Sweeney hard around the glass. It'll be picked up by Jim Pack. The crowd is back in the game here again. Puck jumped away from Hervey, and Wesley has it for the Bruins. Goes to the left side. Jeannot centers one back. Duras tipped it to Oates. Couldn't get it to him. Troy Loney, with 4 Bruins surrounding him, has dumped it in. Andy Moog left it. Ward Murphy gets knocked off the puck. Here's Yager. Yager, one of those spin-around moves. Didn't get it to a teammate. Now Trottier will recover it at center and drop it back for Roberts. Roberts, the Pittsburgh defenseman, to Yager. Going off the linesman instead and comes back into the Pittsburgh zone. The Bruins chase it. Lazaro centers. It's low and into the catching glove of goaltender Tom Barrasso. Clock stopped with 6 minutes and 15 seconds left in the third period.
Here's how the Pittsburgh goal started. You can see where the puck is, and the Bruins tried to dump it in the middle of the ice. The Penguins cut it right there, and here they come on the counterattack. Sean McEachran goes wide, fakes the shot to freeze Gordy Murphy, and we can stop it right here and show you that everybody is covered in front. So really, Andy Moog is able to make a play on it, but the puck goes behind the net. Now we can stop and show you who would really get Sean McEachran. He's got a guy chasing him. Gordy Murphy can't get him. This player can't get to him in time. McEachran comes right around. Moog hasn't recovered. Bingo. Right along the ice behind Andy Moog, but it was that costly play in the neutral zone that cost the Bruins the turnover.
McEachran from Tocchet at 12:27 of the third period. The game tied 3-3 at Pittsburgh. Game 1 of the Prince of Wales Conference Championship. Steve Leach dumped the puck in. Sergina had it, lost it. It came to the side of the net off Ruzicka and is covered now by Tom Barrasso. Rolf Samuelson was back to help. A little pushing and shoving in front of Barrasso's goal. Everything simmers down and the game is tied 3-all.
If you're a
This game has turned dramatic inside the building. We went to the Penguins locker room where the scratch players earlier, half a dozen or so, were in watching the game on television. Long ago they have left. They have gone to the weight room to work out. Ken Priestley was out sharpening his sticks, doing anything but watching the game. It's so nerve-wracking they say they don't even want to look at it.
I can understand. You can relate to that too, Bill, I guess. Roy Loney comes to center ice. Got pushed off the puck. It hit Ryan Trottier. Trottier can't back in around Duras. And the Bruins come across the line. Ed Donato driving to the left side. Fires one. And is blocked. And now a collision with the net frees it up. As you see, it's the post here on the near side that is just back of the goal line. So they'll right the net, and we'll have 5 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third period.
And as the seconds tick off in the third period, faceoffs become more important. Both of these teams were dominant in the faceoff department in their last series. Boston against Montreal, the Penguins against the Rangers. Dave Poulin was the best for the Bruins against Montreal, and Ron Francis was the best for the Penguins against the New York Rangers, and they have faced one another quite a bit in this hockey game.
When you think back to the conference final of a year ago between these two teams, the Bruins won the first 2 games at Boston. They were coming off an emotional Game 7 victory over the Montreal Canadiens in order to advance. And then Pittsburgh rallied and won 4 in a row. Moved on to face the Minnesota North Stars and eventually won the Stanley Cup. Long shot from the point here is grabbed and held by Barrasso. And look at the way the Bruins drove to the net. Duras, Donato, and Oates all in there together.
Yeah, they have a little tougher time getting there very often than the Penguins forwards because of the size of the Pittsburgh defense. Ulf Samuelson's built like a linebacker. Kjell Samuelsson, 6'5", 235. So they try to get there with their quickness more than their strength.
Adam Oates stays out on the ice. You look at Tom Barrasso. The face-off will be to his right, and his battalion is out again tonight. There's more than 35 in his battalion, of course. That's his uniform number, folks. Bruins get the draw. They set up the man at the point. Long shot. No problem for Tom Barrasso making that save. Hervey will face it off again deep in the Pittsburgh end of the ice. Pittsburgh Penguins have scored the only goal of the third period to tie the game 3-3, but they have been outshot by Boston 11-6. Face-off again is deep in the Pittsburgh zone as Adam Oates will line up against Brian Trottier. Duras to the right, Donato to the left for the Bruins. The other 2 Pittsburgh forwards, Kevin Stevens and Ron Francis, were off to Trottier's right. Penguins failed to clear the zone, and Oates centered one in front. A scramble, big save by Barrasso. Oates with a shot, off Barrasso and up into the seats. They have plunked the iron as well, but a close call, and the Bruins were just that close to taking the lead again.
Tom Barrasso's got a problem. I'm not sure what it is. He got some help from Ron Francis. I'm not so sure this puck didn't deflect off of Ron Francis enough. But Adam Oates' eyes had to light up and get real big because after Tom Barrasso went down, the puck came right to him. Here's the scramble in front. Stanton and Samuelson both take one guy and both go down. Adam Oates will skate into the bottom of the picture and let her rip. And did Ron Francis make that save with his left hand? I think Barrasso was too far back into the net, Jakes, to actually deflect it over the crossbar. That looked like it went off the post, too. Here comes Francis. Hard to say. Ron Francis made a good attempt at a block, and Adam Oates let it rip. We do know that it went over the net. But the Bruins are still coming. They're coming. I mean, this period has belonged to the Bruins.
It really has. They were forced outside the zone, as you saw in the ensuing face-off, and have dumped it in. Dave Poulin taken to the boards by Kjell Samuelsson. Penguins had it and lost it. Now a shot from the point gets through and is grabbed and held by Tom Barrasso.
Boy, when you can come into a building such as the Pittsburgh Civic Arena and play a high-powered team, even without Joey Mullen and Mario Lemieux, and hold the Penguins to 22 shots. We're down to under 5 minutes to go. While you're generating 35 shots yourself, Rick Bowness's game plan has been right on target. Still, the Penguins are tied with the Bruins. And it'll be interesting to see what Scotty Bowman does if he needs a timeout, because he doesn't have one left. He's already taken it. Rick Bowness has his timeout.
Once more, Trottier and Dave Poulin on a face-off. This one won by Trottier. Impact comes out of the corner. Couldn't clear the zone. Long shot is wide of Barrasso. Rattles around to the left side, and Phil Bourque clears it out. Ward Murphy comes off the right wing boards and shot it in. Barrasso out to handle the puck here. Gave it to Pack. They're right on him in a hurry. So Kjell Samuelsson goes up right wing. Taka clears the zone. Gord Murphy with it out at the center ice stripe.
Well, the Penguins consistently try to come up the boards. They can't do it against Boston. The Boston Bruins are using such a full pinch, Jakes, that on that last play when they tried to come out, Don Sweeney not only pinched into the hash marks, but all the way into the corner. Now, to do that, you have to have faith in your forwards backing you up. And the Bruins in this game have used the full pinch all along. And, you know, the only time they've got caught on it is when Scotty Bowman's guys broke out on that 2-on-1 in the first period. And Brian Trottier scored a goal. Other than that, the full pinches work great. And so is the hitting, this time by Bobby Carpenter on Jimmy Pack. Carpenter's a strong guy. And the Bruins have hit consistently and used whatever size they have had to try and punish the Penguins deep in their own zone. Right on target. Forechecking has been outstanding by the Bruins in this one.
Now McEachran driving into the Boston zone has knocked off his skates. Rick Tocchet gets it right back across the line. Was checked, and Adam Oates clears it. Oates up this right side with a neat pass, but taken to the boards was Glenn Murray, the 19-year-old. And the Penguins regain control of the puck. Paul Stanton misses everybody. And shot it wide of Moog, and will get an icing call with 3 minutes and 52 seconds left in regulation time. The only goal of this period by McEachran has tied it 3-3. Face-off coming in the circle to the left of the Pittsburgh net. Adam Oates on the draw for Boston. And Brian Trottier given the responsibility again of the defensive zone face-off. This is won by the Bruins. Hervey's shot turned aside. Juras centers. That goes bouncing off the pile of players in front of the net and is picked off and brought out by Paul Stanton. Stanton with a pass to Ron Francis. He shoots just wide. Moe got a chunk of it, and now Francis wheels it off the boards out in front. Here's Stevens. A weak shot as he was off balance at the time. And Boston is able to clear the zone. Paul Stanton for Kevin Stevens. He's taken to the boards, but Francis is into the Boston zone. The puck slipped away from him. He recovers. Look at the move on Wesley. Out in front to Stevens, and he couldn't complete the pass. Peter Juras steps over center. 2-on-2 as Juras is chased to the boards by Larry Murphy. They both tumble to the deck. Jeannot is turned around and into the boards heavily, and the Penguins are able to clear it out. And he's shot right back in by the Boston Bruins. Picking it up here is Gordy Roberts. Boston in the middle of a change. Roberts comes to center ice. That's to the right wing boards. Gord Roberts, 34-year-old defenseman, sets up Murphy. The shot off the heel of his stick, and the Bruins come up 3-on-1. Steve Leach down right wing. Murphy cuts across. The pass to Ruzicka. They center it in front. Oh, what a stop by Barassa. A trickling puck on the three-way pass, and they couldn't complete it. McEachran will dump it the length of the ice. The Penguins get the heat off with this icing call, but they were that close to falling behind again.
I'm not sure Vladimir Ruzicka had another option. If he had shot, he would have been at virtually an impossible angle. And he was so far over, he knew that if he could get it in front, somebody might have a whack at it. With the Penguins with some pressure, but the shot just misfired from Larry Murphy, and he had to backpedal coming back. And with the Bruins coming down on a 3-on-1, one pass, then another one to the side. Now it was actually Dave Reed that tried to pass in front. Ruzicka steered it over to him, but I'm not sure Reed had another option. Leach to Ruzicka and over to Dave Reed. Now if he fires right away, maybe up high on Tom Barrasso, but Reed never even thought about shooting. For a big man, Tom Barrasso's most underrated quality is his agility. 6'3" and 210. We talked about it earlier. The bigger you get, the more of that stuff you're supposed to give away. But Tom Barrasso has great agility for a man his size.
He has made 14 saves here in the third period. Penguins have cleared the zone. Tocchet playing it off the boards. Doesn't go far enough for icing. Was going to go into the goal mouth anyway. So Gord Murphy starts from back of the Boston net. Pass to the right wing. The Bruins get to it at center ice. Juras drives across the line. Hack bumped him off the puck, and Kjell Samuelsson recovers. He clears the zone. And Hervey out at center ice. Shot it off Troy Loney. Rick Tocchet chases Hervey back into the Boston end. Hervey is able to clear it. Kjell Samuelsson chases it. Saw Ted Donato stumble a little, allowing Samuelsson to get back, and the puck is loose at center ice. Picked off. Here's Loney across the line. Loney can't slip it through to Trottier. Big defensive play there for the Bruins. Now Stanton frees it up for Rick Tocchet. Tocchet to Troy Loney. Loney tight on the right wing boards. And difficulty regaining control of the puck. Centers. Tocchet's shot is blocked at the Boston defense, and they clear it up ahead. Trottier takes the man. Samuelson took the puck, couldn't get it into the Boston zone. Bruins trying to complete a player change, and the Penguins forced them back. This is Don Sweeney coming up the left wing boards. Kevin Stevens got a chunk of him, and Larry Murphy plays the puck. Murphy skies it on into the Boston zone. It bounces right to Andy Moog, who scoops it up, and play is called. 1 minute and 8 seconds left in regulation time.
Finally, the Penguins decide to dump it in. They haven't done much of that, and that's one of the reasons they haven't generated much attack. They've tried to carry it all game long, and the Bruins have been just like a wall at their own blue line. And if you don't mix your attack, you never really back the defenseman off the blue line. You've got to mix your dumps and your carries. The Bruins defense have been very strong at standing up on the blue line, but the Penguins will take this dump in because Larry Murphy dumped it right to Andy Moog, and with 1 minute and 8 seconds to go, a faceoff will come to Moog's left. And Ron Francis, the key faceoff guy for the Penguins, is out there. Dave Poulin, the man that we mentioned as the top Bruins faceoff guy against Montreal, is out there to face him.
Yager over on the right side. Points in the last 4 games, but nothing tonight. Adam Oates with points in 5 consecutive games for the Bruins, but nothing tonight. The Bruins have won 5 playoff games in a row. We have 60 seconds now remaining in the third period. Francis stepped into his man, but the puck ends up inside the Pittsburgh zone. Larry Murphy to Gord Roberts. Roberts spots Yager, can't get the puck around Poulin. Dave Poulin off right wing, driving on Roberts, centered, and it's in the catching glove of Barrasso, and he's fed it off to Francis. 3 Bruins drop back. Here's Yager across the line, trying to go through traffic. Stevens coming late, had it and lost it. Now the Bruins have a chance at center ice. Carpenter to the left side for Bob Sweeney. He's checked. A follow through by Carpenter, turned aside, and Barrasso fell to the ice in his clearing effort. 25 seconds left in the third period. As again, the Bruins have dumped it in. Gord Roberts gets to it, gave it to Murphy. Murphy to Yager. Yager up to Stevens, couldn't finish the pass. 10 seconds. That's all in regulation time, and game 1 of the Wales Conference Final is going to go to overtime, but not before we have one more face-off, an offside at the Boston line.
Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins and Scotty Bowman can thank their target, their goaltender, Tom Barrasso, for keeping him in this hockey game and allowing him to come back and tie. Barrasso has faced 38 shots. Andy Moog has faced 25 at the other end. Tom Barrasso was shaken up in the first period, but he bounced back and has been very strong. Money goaltender. That's how he always perceived himself and told people he could play like that. He proved it last year, and he's reproved it again this year. So far, so good for Barrasso.
After regulation time, the Bruins and the Penguins tied 3-3, and we pause for a regional break.
Minutes have been played, and we have not resolved this first game of round 3 in the Wales Conference Finals. It is 3 apiece. Let's take a look at the scoring summary so far in the contest. It was seemingly a long time ago. Brian Trottier from Tom Barrasso at 3:26, and the Penguins were ahead. Bob Sweeney tied it, unassisted and shorthanded at 5:40. Then it was Ted Donato from Peter Duras at 13:35. Jock Callender from Dave Mihalik at 14:22. Second period, Glenn Wesley from Juneau and Oates at 19:16. Bruins ahead. But then at 12:27, Sean McEachern from Rick Tocchet tied this contest up. Boston outgunned Pittsburgh in the third period 16-9, and overall in the game 38-25. But as Bill observed, we've had some great work done by the goalkeepers in this contest tonight. Bill, thus far in the contest, we've seen some good goalkeeping, but I'm just wondering if you had sensed down the last 5 minutes or so that both teams were playing pretty conservatively, and we might wind up with an overtime game.
Well, you get into one of those tied situations in a game such as this. Everybody wants game 1 because it sets the trend for game 2 and the tempo potentially for the series. But you get into one of those tied situations and everybody's going to be a little cautious. You know, you've heard me say this a lot, Mike, when I talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins, and what I say about them is this: you can outplay them, and because of their depth and because of their skill level, they can still tie you, and very often they can beat you. All they need is one chance, and ultimately that's all that happens. happen for them to score their goal, because the Bruins really, I think, from the halfway point in this game have taken it away from the Penguins.
Going back to your comments at the start of the game and the two players you focused on, the two missing guys, Lemieux and Ray Bourque, do you sense that whoever wins this game tonight will actually wind up forcing one of those injured players to come back a little earlier than he might thought he'd come back?
Well, Rick Bowness has already said that Ray Bourque is going to be back Tuesday night, so that would be a huge lift for the Bruins. If they can win Game 1 and get Bourque back before the Penguins get Lemieux back, and there really is such little talk of Lemieux coming back for Game 2, it'd be a tremendous boost for the Bruins. Boy, they get Ray Bourque back, and they've already got a Game 1 under their belts. They look very strong at that point.
We had one huge goal by a USA Olympian, and now a huge goal by his roommate with the Olympic team, and a guy on the other squad tonight, Sean McEachern, getting this goal from Rick Tocchet that tied this game and forced overtime. Phil Bourque was storming to the front of the net, but the cross-ice pass came in front, and Tocchet got a piece of it, but right out for the wraparound, and the stuff that wound up going through was McEachern to make this a tie game that we have right now.
And, Mike, we'll take a look at what started the problem for the Bruins. Gordy Murphy brings the puck up the ice. Now, what are his options? Really, if you look into the middle of the ice, he's got a player there, but his back is to him. He's got another player whose back is to him. Really, his only safe option here is up the boards. But Gord Murphy tries to force the puck into traffic, and he gets caught doing it. Now, McEachern will do something here that's kind of key that probably wasn't noticed originally. He'll fake a shot here. Now, we'll stop it right here and show you that. Look at Gordy Murphy. He is stepping to this side to try to get out of the way of the shot. Well, once McEachern fakes the shot, Gord Murphy has to scramble. See, Murphy's already moved out of the way. Now he has to jump back to try to get him. Pass is really missed. Moog tips it and it goes behind. But the question now is who can get McEachern? We can stop right here. Really, the only guy that could get him is the rookie Glenn Murray, who really had to make a sprint to this side of the net to head McEachern off, who's coming around. Gord Murphy is trying to catch him from behind, but he just can't. So Glenn Murray didn't react quickly enough. Sean McEachern did. And Andy Moog is still down from that original tip when McEachern centered it over in front. So smart heads-up play by Sean McEachern. Got some help. You need some breaks to make things happen, and the Penguins got a break on that one.
And those lights will burn all night, and we'll stay here till we get a winner. Twice the Penguins have played overtime, both times against the Rangers. They're 1-1. The Bruins have played 3 overtime games, and they've won them all.
Come back to our NHL studios in New York. Pittsburgh and Boston tied up at 3 apiece at the end of regulation. This is the 12th overtime of the 1992 Stanley Cup playoffs here on Sports Channel America. And the first overtime happened 4 nights into this year's playoff action. Let's take a look. In this series, it was the Game 2 of Buffalo and Boston. Off the face-off, Adam Oates wins the draw and shoots the puck and beats Tom Draper. The second overtime came Game 3. Minnesota trying to stave off Yves Racine, but Detroit wins it by a score of 5-4. A double overtime, our third overtime. Brett Hull of the Blues beating Chicago for a 5-4 win in the second overtime. In game number 4, Boston and Buffalo, it would be Ted Donato skating in and able to score the goal as Boston comes up with the victory 5-4. Our next overtime occurred in game number 6. It was the Red Wings and the North Stars. Sergei Fedorov with the first ever instant replay decision to decide a game. Was it in? They went to the replay. Detroit was awarded the victory in game number 6. They would win the series in 7 games. Game number 6 between Hartford and Montreal. Ivan Korovo scored at 24 seconds to give Hartford a 2-1 win and force a 7th game. And in the 7th game at the Forum in Montreal, it went into a second overtime of play. But this time it was the Montreal Canadiens who would win it. It would be Russ Courtnall swiping once, swiping twice, and scoring the goal. A 3-2 win at 5:26 in the second overtime. Move on to round number 2. Game number 1, Edmonton and Vancouver. Joe Murphy with the steal and scores 4-3. Edmonton a winner over Vancouver. In game number 2 of the series between Montreal and Boston at the Forum in Montreal, Peter Doris scored at 3:12 of overtime, a 3-2 Boston victory. Game number 3, the Rangers and Pittsburgh Penguins at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. They checked to make sure that it was good, but it was in. And the goal would be scored by Chris King of the New York Rangers, a 6-5 Ranger victory in game number 3. In game number 4, though, the Penguins would answer right back. Mark Messier coughs up the puck, and Ron Francis scores the game winner, a power play goal, a 5-4 Penguin victory. Can the Penguins do it again at that same arena, the Civic Arena? We'll find out after this timeout. The Bruins and Penguins tied up at 3. A 3-3
tie, overtime is coming up next. And all of the debate about which team benefited from an 8-day layoff or a 3-day layoff doesn't really mean a whole lot right now, because we're going into sudden death overtime. It's academic, and it has become academic for these two coaches as well. The coaches of the two teams were asked before tonight's game what their philosophy is when it comes to what we're about to have, overtime.
Overtime, I'm always concerned that maybe your offensive players can't even get on the ice before an early goal. So my philosophy has been to try to play for a goal early, try to get your top players in the game, maybe even double shift a couple of top players in the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then routinely play like a regular game, knowing that one mistake can be costly. I've always been concerned about face-offs in overtime in your own defensive zone. They've won games for teams, and those kind of things can hurt.
We go for it, and you don't want to open it so much that you're giving the opposition a number of chances, but certainly any chance that we get, we're going for it, and we're going to bring the defense up, and we're going to crash the net, and we'll do whatever it takes to get a shot on net and get a couple of rebounds if necessary. But we're not going to sit back and wait for the breaks. We're going to try and take advantage of any breakdowns by the opposition.
Well, it should be kind of interesting. We've got both teams opening up the cannon. Scotty Bowman's comments, he wants to go for it. Rick Bowness wants to go for it. That tells you how the philosophy over the years has changed in overtime. Teams used to lay back and wait for it to happen. The one disadvantage for the Bruins is that the Penguins still have more firepower, and if Scotty Bowman double shifts it, they look to have an advantage. The momentum's with Boston. The talent and the skill level right now is with Pittsburgh, I think.
I think Pittsburgh has to dump the puck a little more, force something in that Boston zone. They've laid back a little too much for my liking, yet after hearing the coaches talk about their philosophy, somehow or another I still have this feeling that we're in for a long night.
Do you?
Yes.
Well, we'll see. If the Pittsburgh Penguins don't dump it, they haven't done that all game long. If they don't mix it up a little bit now, the Boston Bruins have a chance at their transition game, which is not a bad game at all. They've got good speed up front, and they can move it back up ice. Be interesting to see. I want to see how much Scotty Bowman plays his top guys. We'll look for Yager, we'll look for Tocchet, and we'll look for Kevin Stevens, I think, more than anybody, along with Ron Francis. Throw him in there.
Well, we'll see what happens. Andy Moog has had 25 shots to face tonight, given up 3 goals. Tom Barrasso, as you know, with 38 shots against. He, too, has given up 3. Teams change ends. Andy Moog will be in the goal, as you see, to our right. Barrasso down to the left. So as we come to overtime, this will be the 12th overtime game of the 1992 Stanley Cup playoffs. We had 7 overtime games in the opening round, 4 in the division finals, and this the first of the conference final. A year ago, there were 16 overtime games.
You know, during the regular season, the Boston Bruins played as many overtime games as anybody in the league. They played 20. 2 other teams played 20. The Bruins only lost 2 of those. They tied 12, but they won 6 of the 20, lost only 2 and tied 12.
And they've been perfect in the spring of 1992. 3 overtime wins. Teams at full and equal strength. Dave Poulin won the draw from Francis. Don Sweeney plays it around the boards. Kevin Stevens had the stick pulled out of his hands, but the puck handled here by Ulf Samuelsson. His long pass recovered at center and shot in by Don Sweeney. Ulf Samuelsson tries to play it out of the zone. There's Yager over on left wing. Nice pass. And he didn't get it to his teammate in time, and now Stanton has dumped it in from center ice. Glenn Wesley back behind the Boston net. Turns it up the right side and came off the boards and is handled by Ulf Samuelsson. Now Shell Samuelsson dumps it in. Glenn Wesley will get to it. Wesley had the big goal last minute of the second period to give Boston a 3-2 lead, and then Sean McEachran tied the game in the third. The Bruins try to set something up in that Pittsburgh zone. Dave Poulin chasing the puck. Put it back in the net. Phil Bourque had his man pinned on the boards. Still trying to tie up Dave Reed. What a job by Reed. His helmet popped off. Jim Pack freed the puck for the Penguins. The Bruins right back on it. That's Glenn Murray. Rick Bowness not shy to use this 19-year-old rookie. Murray, the Penguins, clear the puck out towards center ice. Bruins set up. Weimer dumps it in. We played 1 minute and 10 seconds of overtime. Shell Samuelsson to Jim Pack up off the boards. The Bruins recover at the Pittsburgh line. Cross ice and a jumped over Junot's stick. Handled here by Weimer. His drive off Barrasso. The Bruins, again with that tight checking, are able to get to the puck. Adam Oates frees it up. A quick shot. Deflects high and wide of that goal. And Murray got it away. Look at the forechecking here by the Bruins. They're backed out into center ice. Weimer recovers. Bumped into the zone by Gord Murphy. Now Tocchet for the Penguins. Plays it on into the Boston end of the ice. The Bruins have had the only shot on goal in overtime, and now they start out of the zone, led by Jim Weimer. Weimer, a long pass, bounces off the Pittsburgh defenseman, Gordy Roberts, and Barrasso plays it out of the zone. Couldn't get it to Trottier, but now Tocchet here in the right wing dumps it down the ice, just out of the reach of Trottier. Moog had a notion to play it, does not, and that'll result in an icing call against Pittsburgh.
Boy, nice fake by Andy Moog. He went out behind the net, and he wanted to try to throw Brian Trottier off, so he wound up like he was going to take a big hatchet chop at the puck, and he let it slide for his defenseman to get in the corner. Andy Moog hasn't had as much work as Tom Barrasso. Has only faced 25 shots, but he's been good. Boston's chance, the best one, top of the circle shot by Jim Weimer. It was a screen shot that looked partially deflected on the way to Tom Barrasso, but when you've got a focus level that's as high as Barrasso's right now, those are actually pretty easy saves.
You look down that Boston bench. Rick Bowness has sent Ruzicka out to take the face-off. Carpenter is on the left side. Steve Leach on the right. The Penguins play the puck out through center. It's tipped and out of play at the penalty box.
Well, Scotty Bowman said that he might double shift his top guys. He hasn't done that so far. He's got Hrdina out there with Troy Loney, so he's gone with 3 lines. I want to see if Rick Bowness shortens his bench. He said he wants to go for it. He's got a lot of kids on that team. I know he believes in just about all of them. We'll see if he's willing to put them out here in a regular rotation in overtime.
Ruzicka in the middle to take this face-off against Trottier. That's Troy Loney, number 24, over on left wing, trying to knock the feet out from under Leach. Larry Murphy comes to center, fires a long shot, gloved by Andy Moog. At Hervey. Off the boards to Bob Carpenter, wheels it out through center ice. This is Leach. Steve Leach fires one, turned aside by Barrasso. Big rebound. It's kept in by the Bruins and now handled here. Medina fed it to Loney. Another long shot. Moog drops it off. Hervey turns it up the boards towards Steve Leach. Leach does get it out towards center, but Murphy cuts across. Played it to the Boston line. Up with it is Ron Francis. Francis with Loney. Francis moves in, and his shot was deflected wide. Comes back on the near side to Carpenter. Ruzicka now to Leach. Right at the end of a shift. He'll try a long shot. Actually a dump in. Ruzicka drove it after the puck, but Samuelson is there. He allows Stanton to handle it. Now up to Hrdina. Over the line with Stevens. Hrdina gets checked by Don Sweeney. And the Bruins clear the zone. We played just over 3 minutes of sudden death overtime. Don Sweeney down the left side. Drops it off for Oates. Cross ice. It's Ted Donato trying to make the play. The puck ends up behind the net, and Stevens gave it away to Oates. Oates puts it out in front. That will get outside the Pittsburgh line.
Well, one guy that's not helping Jaromir Jagr's chances to score an overtime winning goal was Yuri Hrdina. He was out there on right wing. Now both Francis and Stevens ended up out there. They're Jagr's line mates. When you see that, you got to get off the ice. Hrdina was out there almost 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Now the Penguins come to center. Sean McEachran with a burst of speed drops it to Stevens, and the shot turned aside, and Moog is belted back into the net. There'll be a penalty. Evan Stevens is going to draw a penalty.
Jakes, I've just seen one of the greatest delayed calls I've ever seen. Andy Van Hellemond triple pumped before calling this. He looked at it and thought about it for a good 4 seconds before finally raising his arm to call a penalty on Kevin Stevens, who I think deserved one. Andy Van Hellemond took a while to make up his mind because Stevens came to the front of Andy Moog and looked like he just forearmed him back into the net. Great speed by Sean McEachran, pulled out of the shot, decided to pass. Don't know why. He had a pretty good chance. Watch Stevens. See him give Andy Moog a shot right there.
Pittsburgh penalty, number 25, Kevin Stevens. 2 minutes for cross-checking.
The call is cross-checking. Stevens sits in the penalty box, and this will be the Bruins' 7th power play of the night. Specialty teams have not been a factor offensively. There's Ray Bourque.
Boy, you can see the cast that Bourque has on his right hand. Now that was refitted today. Both his index finger and the middle finger on that hand, the finger that is broken, are fused together by the cast. So all he has to hold his stick, his thumb his pinky finger and the one next to it, his ring finger on his right hand. He's got 3 fingers, but he doesn't have the use of his middle finger or his index finger, and he's going to play like that on Tuesday night.
Man, missing his 3rd playoff game. Slash across the hand in the series against the Montreal Canadiens, sidelining Bourque. So we watch the Bruins set up in the power play. Joey Janot drops it off for Wesley. Wesley plays it away from Phil Bourque. Murphy gets it on into the Pittsburgh zone. Back for it is Ulf Samuelsson around the boards and down the ice, but it's going to be called an icing indicated by the linesman to begin with. 31 seconds has expired in the penalty against Kevin Stevens.
Once again, a look at the cast on the hand of Boston star defenseman Ray Bourque, who has to stand nervously and watch this one. Now, if Mario would just put up his left hand instead of his right hand hanging over the railing, we'd see the size of his cast, and it's a pretty good size cast on his left hand. Shooting the puck not bad, though. He is skating, and from the looks of things, not that far away. I suspect he could be back by Game 3. The Penguins are saying Game 5, but Game 3 would give him another 4 days to rest.
They did give us just a glimpse of that left hand.
He can take a cue after all.
Didn't appear to be anything on that left hand, did there?
Oh gosh, he's just taken that off then. He wears one when he's off the ice, and up until 2 days ago, he had a big cast on it. Obviously trying to rehab the thing without a cast on now.
Still says he has trouble stick handling. Shooting is a little easier than it was, but there is pain. Andy Moog quickly turns it up ice. Adam Oates to the feed here to Janot, on to Reed. He's surrounded by Penguins. Less than a minute to go in the Boston power play. The puck played right back into Andy Moog's area. McEachran into forecheck. Moog turns it to the far corner. McEachran after it. There's Oates. Now to Ruzicka. Vladimir Ruzicka to Glenn Wesley. Miss Janot with the pass. And it's offside. Handled at the blue line by Dave Reed, and they'll bring the puck back into the Boston zone.
You can see the problem the Bruins have without a quarterback, without a guy like Ray Bourque to actually bring the puck up the ice and either carry it or make the play. The Boston Bruins are having trouble bringing it up. Rick Bowness wants to talk this over now. Pittsburgh has already used their timeout, and with 41 seconds to go in this power play, looks like Rick Bowness has decided to take a shot at it right now. Well, he said he was going to go for it.
Through 5 minutes and 15 seconds of overtime, the Bruins have had 2 shots on goal. Pittsburgh has had 2 on goal as well. And they gather around head coach Rick Bowness. Scotty Bowman's guys are just content to lean on the boards and suck it up. Those lungs full again.
Boy, and it is hot in here. There was a day in the 80s in Pittsburgh, and this building, filled with over 16,000 people, has gotten very warm, very humid. Players have to be soaking wet by now.
The fans deciding what they would do in this case. Bill, I mentioned in the 3rd period that some streaks were on the line, and that Adam Oates, who had had a point in 5 consecutive games, didn't have one. They added an assist on the Glenn Wesley goal to Adam Oates. The one that gave Boston a 3-2 lead late in the 2nd period, so Oates has extended his string, obviously, to 6 consecutive games.
I think he touched the puck in front of the net before it went to the corner when Juno went and got it and fed it back to Wesley.
Now they settle back into the seats. Linesman Wayne Bonney ready to drop the puck between Ron Francis and Adam Oates. Francis turns on Oates. Murphy was able to get a stick on it. Gord Murphy, fired from the Philadelphia Flyers. Gary Galley. Murphy has shot it in. The puck comes around to the right wing boards. This is Oates. Adam Oates left it on the boards, trying to recover. In a little deeper to Poulin. Back to Oates. Now to Wesley. Murphy shot deflected wide of Tom Barrasso, and it's cleared to the line, but not out. Wesley plays it around Phil Bourque. 8 seconds remaining in the Boston power play. Poulin parked in front of the net, calling for it. It comes out in front. Murphy's shot doesn't get through. Here's Glenn Wesley. He shoots. That's blocked by Ulf Samuelsson. Ames are at full strength again. Wesley has held it for Boston. Played it over the head of Adam Oates. And the Penguins are able to move it outside the blue line. Hervé will pick it up for the Bruins and drive it deep into the Pittsburgh zone. This is Larry Murphy. Goes to the left side. Ulf Samuelsson couldn't get the pass through to Trottier. Boston dumps it in once more. Larry Murphy goes back for it. Into the corner. Ruzicka put it in front, and Trottier cuts that off. Had Kevin Stevens open, but Stevens was unable to move up the boards. Now Trottier again goes to the left side. Stevens clears it out. Rick Tocchet at center ice. Tocchet taken to the boards nicely by Don Sweeney's check. The Bruins come up the middle. Ruzicka tipped the pass intended for Leach. Penguins able to recover, and Trottier has dumped it in. Andy Moog handles it now to Don Sweeney. Turned it over. Brian Trottier, a wraparound. Trying to pass through to Stevens. Couldn't get it to him. And the Bruins come up 3-on-2. The puck jumped over Ruzicka's stick as Reed had a little trouble making the pass. Weimer out at center, dumps it in, and the Boston Bruins in the middle of a player change may have been caught here. Referee Andy Van Helleman going to the off-ice officials area, and the Bruins in a player change get caught. Too many men on the ice.
Well, it wasn't as flagrant as the too many men penalty that the Penguins took earlier in the game, but they got real confused at the bench. A bad line change with all kinds of people pouring over the boards before anybody could get off. And the Bruins were caught by Andy Van Helleman. Some of the Penguins people knew that there were too many men. Look at Scotty Bowman. Hey, look at that. He's already got it. Well, let's take a look at it. We got how many right here in this picture? We got 3 Bruins in this one. There are 3. Where do we go from here as the play moves up out of the Pittsburgh zone? You've already got those 3. Now the line change will take place as the play moves up ice, but we can stop right here and show. Look at this crowd. I mean, you've got about 5 guys right there. You've got 3 Bruins still out here. Well, they must have set a record. They got 8 guys on the ice there. And Rick Tocchet standing there in front of the bench with his hand outstretched saying, what about it?
Saw Pierre Maguire, the assistant coach, on the bench with Scotty Bowman doing jumping jacks. Still has the headset on. That was one of the concerns of the 2 coaching staffs today. The headsets are on the same frequency. So the Penguin coaching staff could listen into the Bruins during the regular season. The Bruins did the same. They have it all corrected now, and Jágr drives into the Boston zone. Jaromir Jágr. Off the boards, into the slot, shoots, just went wide on the deflection. Jágr, after his own rebound, turns it back in the net. Francis had it knocked off his stick. He goes after it. Murphy pinches in, but Gord Murphy for Boston fires at the length of the ice. Penalty against Boston was called 7 minutes and 2 seconds into overtime. Bill Bourque pulls up, makes the pass to no one. Here's Jeff Lazaro across the line. Lazaro with a shot that was blocked. Offside, now being called. It was delayed for a long time and whistled down.
I think Scotty Bowman's got to find a way to get Jaromir Jágr on the ice more. I don't think he's logged as much ice time in this game as he usually does. Played about 20 minutes during the regular season. His ice time's up to 27, 28 minutes during the playoffs. But boy, in situations like this, and we're talking about a 20-year-old kid that loves to play and that openly complains on the bench when he doesn't get enough ice time, you need a game breaker out there. I honestly don't know why he's not out there more.
Yeah, good question.
I mean, he can play. There's no question about his legs. He's got lots left.
Rick Tocchet is out now, along with Stevens and Francis. Still 1 minute and 16 seconds left in this power play. Tocchet getting a little delay, coming back for another stick. Murphy and Bourque on the points for the Penguins. Boston killing it off with Bob Sweeney. And Jeff Lazaro up front. Don Sweeney. And Glenn Wesley on defense. Making Gord Murphy the defenseman. That's Larry Murphy to Phil Bourque, out to Ron Francis. Francis goes to the right side. Stevens drops it back for Tocchet. He shoots up high, and Moog has that.
Well, Andy Moog will take all of those that the Penguins want to shoot at him. Nobody in front to screen. Rick Tocchet without enough time to wind up. So he lofted one at Andy Moog. But that's a low percentage play. Once you've got possession over the blue line, you want to try and take your time. Now, Rick Tocchet has time to stop and bail out on the play and turn it back around to the blue line. His point man was there. But Andy Moog made that one look easy.
Game 2 in this series, right here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh on Tuesday night. Ron Francis and Dave Poulin on the faceoff. Francis, number 10, leans in. Poulin, number 19 for Boston, waits. Now drops his stick. Francis won the draw, and they get it back to Murphy. Over to Phil Bourque. Bourque lets one go that was tipped wide. Comes out in front for Francis. Back to Murphy. Larry Murphy feeds Francis. In deeper to Stevens. Back along the boards. Here's Francis. Francis lets it go. Moog the save. The big rebound was there, but cleared. Dave Reed got a chunk of it, and Poulin guides it the rest of the way into the Penguin zone. Larry Murphy rounds the net. Pass to Phil Bourque. He got checked, but Murphy was there. Out now to center, and Tocchet drives it into the Boston zone. Half a minute to go in this penalty against the Bruins. Stevens trying to center it to Tocchet. It ends up in the far corner. Rick Tocchet couldn't control it. He and Wesley in a battle for it. Now Kevin Stevens takes over. Stevens makes the pass. Murphy with a shot. That's tipped up into the seats.
Was Dave Poulin in the right place, or was he in the right place? In front of Andy Moog, Larry Murphy received a perfect pass. And Dave Poulin, the guy that makes more underrated plays than anybody in this league today when he's healthy. He missed 61 games this season with an abdominal injury that resulted in surgery. But watch his play here. Down on one leg, one knee, got a piece of it with his left hand, so Andy Moog didn't even have to touch it. Second to Cam Neely, Dave Poulin was the most missed player when he was out of the lineup this season. Stevens perfectly to Larry Murphy, only to be stopped by Dave Poulin. And we talk about chemistry a lot, Jigs. You need catalysts to create the chemistry, to pull all of that chemistry together. And Dave Poulin provides that intangible quality of being a catalyst, I think, as well as anybody. There's another guy, Brian Trottier, that supplies a lot of it, too.
Sure does. The puck has been shot down into the Pittsburgh zone. We have played 9 minutes. Sudden death overtime. Up the middle, the pass didn't arrive for Loney. Moog let it slide wide, and that's an icing against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The teams are at full and equal strength again. At this stage in overtime, Boston has had 3 shots on goal. The Penguins have had 5. Looking at Bob Sweeney, who scored a shorthanded goal after Pittsburgh had taken a 1-0 lead in the first period. Ryan Trottier had scored for the Penguins, and then Sweeney came back. Donato got a 2-1 lead for Boston before Callender tied it for Pittsburgh. Stayed that way through most of the second period before Boston took a 3-2 lead. And in the third, McEachran tied it for Pittsburgh. Trottier against Oates. That's your face-off matchup. Trottier tying up Oates. Nice move by Stanton to recover the puck. He's given it to Yager. Yarmer with a little trouble handling it. Stanton couldn't control the puck. And now Oates drives across the Pittsburgh line. Nice pass to Juris, and a shot hit Stanton. Well, Samuelson turns it up the boards. Down into the Boston zone. No icing this time. Don Sweeney hustling back for it. Around to the left side for Ted Donato. He's cleared it out. He picked up by Shell Samuelson after he had to turn and go back. Don Sweeney lost it. Here's Yager driving across the line. Comes in on goal. Yager shoots. He scores!
Finally got Jaromir Jagr back out on the ice. By my count, only his 3rd shift of this overtime period. What a move. What a move again. 2 in a row. Maybe the puck deflected by Matt Hervey between Andy Moog's legs. It was a low shot, not placed at all by Jagr, but it got through, and Ray Bourque's reaction. We'll try him on Tuesday night.
Yager's 7th, his 4th game-winning goal. The final is the Pittsburgh Penguins 4 and the Boston Bruins 3. Pittsburgh has taken a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. Let's check in again with Bob Papa.
So the Penguins do it again, and Jaromir Jagr, the man on the spot, he scores the overtime goal. Pittsburgh takes game one. It's time to salute our Molson player of the game, and he is Tom Barrasso, the goaltender for the Penguins. Really kept Pittsburgh in it throughout the course of the game. 38 saves for Tom Barrasso. He is the Molson player of the game. The Penguins win in overtime 4-3. We will take you back to the Civic Arena for more of our wrap-up. We now pause for a regional break.